good afternoon to you. It's 12 noon. Welcome to the Madman Cafe. I'm Zane. Welcome to another edition of Brunch with the Madman. Oh boy, it's Saturday. It's been a long week. Wow, hey, listen, Thanksgiving is just a couple of days away. Unbelievable. We're almost out of 2020. Will 2021 hold anything better? I really don't know, because things are getting even more insane than before. I think none of this is going to let up anytime soon, because there's so much going on, and it's unbelievable some of the things that are going on. And we're going to discuss two things today that are just crazy. But before we start, what's on the board today? What is on the daily special here at the Madman Cafe? Well, let's go take a look. Well, it is the amaretto coffee. Ooh, Joffrey's again. The amaretto. My wife made me Joffrey's again today. Let's take a sip of that fantastic. Ooh, look at it. Oh, what a wonderful blend. That is. Ooh, it's a little hot. I almost burnt my tongue on that one. Very good coffee. Once again, Joffrey's did not pay me for this, but it is a fantastic coffee. I got tons of it anyway, so that's what we've been brewing up. But if you do go out and buy this, get it as the whole bean and then grind it yourself. You'll get a fantastic taste from it. Not saying that Joffrey's doesn't do a great grind, but I like it this way. I've tasted both ways. I prefer the whole bean and then grind it down. So, first of all, I want to thank those who have subscribed, liked, and shared this video. I really, really do appreciate it. I really do. I really, truly do. And I say this every show for a reason, is that it's very important that we have this discussion every time because, hey, you're my viewers. It's very important. But this part of it is for you non-subscribers, and I do appreciate you guys clicking on this. And I'm hoping today's the day that I earn that hit on the subscription button for this reason and this reason majorly. Those of you who haven't subscribed yet, I need you to subscribe now. Not only to me, to every small YouTuber out there. Very, very important. For this reason and this reason only. This past week, we just got an update on our terms of service here at CutieCast TV. When I first started this channel, I was under the last part of the old way they were monetizing these channels. So I was monetized pretty much instantaneously without any issue. Then suddenly they removed me from the monetization. They changed the rules. They said, nope, sorry, Zane. We got to change the rules and you're no longer monetized because you need to reach a certain point. And basically, that's it. So I was okay with that. Then, behind everybody's back, they started to shadow ban people. And basically, if they didn't agree with what you were putting out, you would not be in the, what they call the upper echelon or the front page of it. Some things were making it and some things weren't. And I kept pounding out shows, getting improvements. And then I was going through my illness here and there. I ended up in the hospital a couple of times, back and forth. So the show kind of laxed just a bit. And then they started changing the rules again, making it even more difficult to monetize. They made it even further harder to make monetization, where you had to be a certain amount of hours, certain amount of subscriptions, and it just started to become real insane. And then for a period, it was going a little difficult, and then it started to pick up just a bit. In the beginning of this year, I ended up in the hospital, and I was there for a while. Then I came out, and then when I started back on the channel again, some things were going okay for a bit, and some episodes were doing fantastic. We were making the improvements. We were changing equipment. We were tweaking here and there, getting to the levels. I was brushing up on some old styles that I used to use back in the day. Maybe I could put those into effect with the show. We started buying software to improve our thumbnails, to improve our editing, to improve our audio. We just got a switcher we're able to use now for live streams that we're still in the middle of testing on there, because we're testing the live streams because we're having issues with the live streams. That's something separate. And as we got closer to the election, the shadow banning just kept increasing. Now understand, we're more of a fandom pop culture site in some ways. We did have a talk show on current politics and stuff like that, and it didn't do well, and we only did a couple shows and it didn't gauge well, so we discontinued it. And we continued with what was popular and what you, my viewers, were watching. So we started continuing more, phasing more into a little bit more into gaming, more into anime, more into the science fiction realm, and some stuff on the side, like basically apps and social media, all the basics that a normal pop culture channel would do. And the shadow banning just kept continuing and continuing. I mean, there were times where we had episodes that did, oh God, I mean, I have an episode that's going into the 8,000 views category. I mean, I'm on my way to 10,000 views. And then there are those that are stuck in double digits. And like I said, I've done everything possible to get these views up. I've added this channel to places like Parler, like DLive, BitChute, and now recently we just did ODYSEE, LBRY, which is now ODYSEE, LBRY TV, which is now ODYSEE. We started going back. We were minimizing Twitter for a while. Now we're back into Twitter again. And then we're starting to see from our analytics that a lot of our viewerships are coming from independent sites. Search engines like DuckDuckGo and a couple of other search engines I've never heard of before, and I have to look into those search engines, and I'll get back to you on those, find out what those are exactly, who belongs to those. And there's a couple other sites that pulls my shows because of its content. Like, for example, the Dark Shadows, the ones I've talked about, the Dark Shadows TV shows. There's a site that I guess are a fandom of that, and they pull my episodes and put it in there, and their viewers click on my show. So that's where I've gotten a lot of views from those sites, and I thank those sites for that. And thank you very much for those Dark Shadow fans. And it's still continuing. And you've seen this, and you're hearing the same thing from places like Nerdrotic, Steven Crowder, a lot of other people. Tim Pool just recently got hit again because he had Alex Jones on, and Twitter and YouTube just went crazy. And as we got even more closer to the elections, you saw things start to disappear. Certain sites, Red Elephants, they're no longer on YouTube. They got completely wiped out of YouTube. Vincent James, he's no longer on YouTube. He's been shut down from YouTube. Other YouTubers have been secretly shut down and then returned. Quite frankly, he got shut down several times and then he's been brought back. There's a couple others that right at election time they were shut down, and then now they're back again. We were going good for a bit, and then suddenly out of nowhere, YouTube changed its terms of service again. I think at this point we've gone through about 50, 60 terms of service changes. I mean, I gotta question that. Terms of service, you keep changing it constantly, and it's nothing legality. It's mostly toward basically changing your rules, which basically nobody understands. And a lot of the times, someone gets flagged for 23 seconds of video or audio, which is under fair use. Or they get flagged for something and they don't even tell them what it is. Because that's one of the confusing things on YouTube is when you get flagged on something that you get a copyright strike and then they don't tell you, how do we know what we did wrong when you can't tell us what we did wrong? If I'm walking down the street and you arrest me and you said you did something, I said, well, what did I do wrong? And I said, no, you're going to jail. I said, well, I want to know what I did wrong. You did something wrong. This is the situation that they put us through. Constant change of terms of service. And that does not work well for anyone on this platform. Then they changed the terms of service once again recently that says if you haven't reached your threshold, you are to be removed from the partner program. When this happened, I was totally livid. You can ask my wife on this, how upset I was, because I've been in the partner program for several years now, fighting the terms of service every time you guys decide to change the terms of service. How is someone to grow on a platform that keeps changing the rules every 10 seconds? And then on top of that, if you disagree with whatever it is, no matter whether it's politics, fandom, whatever the title of it, if we talk about cuties, we get shadow banned, which is an issue. We're not allowed to have our own voice. We have to have the voice of whatever Google decides to. Is that right? No, it's not. As they said in the Senate hearings, are you a publisher or are you a platform? Because if you are a publisher, we want to know now. Then we know what to do. Because if you are, then we have to abide by some of the stuff that you're doing. But if you're using the 230 rule, you cannot claim yourself to be a publisher. You cannot censor. You cannot ban people because you think that basically they're going against what you don't like or what your employees don't like. Your employees don't run your company. It's like what happened at Spotify with Joe Rogan. Your employees are your employees. They cannot decide what is on your platform. The platform is the platform. It is a free speech. It is basically a place where people can vocalize what they feel, what they think, and they, put out what they believe. Alex Jones, perfect example. Does he belong on his platform? Yes. Does Young Turks belong on his platform? I don't agree with the Young Turks. I think they're crazy. But yes, they belong on this platform as well. See, you have to know, it's not left, it's not right, it's not up, it's down, it's all. The only thing that should be banned from here is stuff like child pornography, anything that harms children, anything that harms anybody, any physical harm. If you threaten somebody, any of that nature, you threaten violence and stuff like that, then that is where you cross the line. If you talk about UFOs, that's fine. As crazy as some of that sounds, that's okay. If you talk about how you disapprove about the Vic Mignogna case, if you about that you approve of the Vic Mignogna case, that's fine. So now that I'm out of the partner program, so I said, what else can they do? What else can they do to me besides kick me off this platform or so-called platform? Well, this current week, as we pass the elections, after a bunch of shadow banning, a bunch of YouTubers that either got knocked off, like Vincent James, they've been kicked off this site, quite frankly, that's been kicked off, kicked on, kicked off, kicked on, back and forth, banning a Crowder, the Tim Pool episode getting ripped out from the Alex Jones. I was saying Alex Rogan. Alex Jones. You know, he had Alex Jones. One thing Tim Pool is, he likes to be diverse on the people that he brings on the show, left, right. I disagreed when he brought on that crazy guy who, like, you know, we ain't even going to go into what he believes in. And a lot of people freaking crucified him for it. And, you know, I didn't agree with the guy either, but that's his show. He could bring on whoever he wants. It's the same like Joe Rogan. He could bring on whoever he wants on his show. It's his show. It's like Arsenio Hall did years ago when Queer Nation came up and said, why don't you have any gay people? And he goes, I've had plenty. And he goes, I've had plenty of gay people on here. This is my show. I bring on whoever I want that's relevant at this moment. When you get your own show, you bring on the people you want to bring on.
You think I haven't had somebody on the show because they're gay? What's wrong with you, man? I'm black. I'm black, man. I'm black, man. I'm the biggest minority you know about. I don't want to hear that gay trash, man. I got gay friends I've had on the show because you don't know them or it ain't who you want on the show. You got a problem with it? If you want to book it, get yourself a show. Now sit down, so I can do the show. You've had your say and I've had mine.
And that still holds good to today. That still holds good. So, this past week, and like I said, what more YouTube besides kicking me off that they can do? Well, this is the one that really, you know, I think this is going to bring up lawsuits. This is going to bring up some lawsuits. So now Google, in their infinite mind through YouTube, has decided that basically those of us who are in the partner program, who are not monetized, they now can put ads on our shows and make money from those ads. Now, you may say to yourself, well, you're on a platform that basically they have to pay for all the equipment and stuff like that. Yeah, Google has infinite money, so that's not a major issue to the point. Yes, YouTube has lost money, but there's a reason for that, and we'll get to that in a minute. Geeky Sparkles on Clownfish TV kind of put it in both directions, and you know, Geeky, she's very good in what she does. She gets a little angry. My wife is like, "Oh my God!" Sometimes when we listen to when we watch the show. And I understand that, you know, they say, oh yeah, we're on a platform, we don't pay for this. If we did it on our own, it would cost us thousands and thousands of dollars. But you got to remember one thing, is that these guys they have the equipment. They basically, the sites are theirs. They're not paying a third-party site to have it. It's part of their company, even if it has another title above the top. And they're making plenty of money on advertisers to begin with. Now, the reason why YouTube is losing money, or has lost money in the past, is because basically of all the censorship, of all the shadow banning. Because people don't want to watch CNBC on YouTube. They don't want to watch CBS on YouTube. They don't want to watch NBC on YouTube. They want to watch heavy spoilers, double toasted, Emergency Awesome, Tim Pool IRL, Friday Night Tights on Neurotic and Neurotic, As versus Heel versus Babyface, Clownfish TV. I can go on and on with the lists on. This is what YouTube was built for. This was the public access, and I keep saying this is what public access evolved from, even though public access is still around. There were no network shows on public access or lease access. Yes, the ones on lease access were companies, but they were not conglomerates like the ones that are on now. These are people who built their companies from public access and lease access. So now in their wisdom, they're putting ads on my show and making money off of it, which that should be coming to me and coming to every other young YouTuber or young creator. So basically what they've done, anybody else that wants to join on and create a new channel on YouTube can't do it. Can't do it. Because as soon as they get on there, they're not making any money. And if YouTube and Google disagrees with what they're doing as far as their show, and we're not talking left or right leaning, because that's an issue in itself. And this is the thing that gets me at the hearings. They talk about conservatives and this and that. And I understand, yeah, conservative views are being banned on these platforms. Yes, that is correct. But that is not the only thing that's being censored. See, the problem is, here's the major problem in today. And I keep using this analogy. If I'm a Yankee fan, and I meet up with a Mets fan, and I go, hey, I'm a Yankee fan. And he goes, well, I think you're a white supremacist, conservative, Razi, because you don't like the Mets. And you're saying, what does that have to do with it? Because the problem is today, anyone that, if you don't follow the norm of anyone else, you're chastised. I read an article that they're now claiming Latins who voted for anyone for the GOP is now considered white supremacists. How is that? And then I heard another story that they basically want to take Asians off the listing as minority. That they're not a person of color. How is that? See, the thing is that you got these group of people that they just want to change things to suit them. And like I said, this is not a political show. But the thing about it is, people throw politics in there when there are no politics. Everybody on all these YouTube sites, Nerdrotic and everybody else, we want to talk about Doctor Who. We want to talk about Star Trek, how bad they are. We want to talk about good shows that are out there, like The Expanse. We've had this. People have had discussions on the TV series The Prisoner, which those are great when Meyer and Az does that on the show. Just recently now, Midnight's Edge was doing they're doing James Bond movies, which they're delving into the movies themselves. They did Dr. No the other day. But then I know people are going to chastise that. We disagree the way the new Bond movie is going. And people are chastising for that. Just recently now they want to do a gender swap, or I don't even know what to freaking call it anymore with Cowboy Bebop. All I know is that they're going to make it woke. And I know people are going to disagree us with that. They want to issue cuties to the Oscar committee. And that's like everybody's upset with that. But then people chastise you and say, "Oh, why are you criticizing this? Because it's a word." We can criticize. We have to have a conversation both ways. Two people can have a conversation. They can deflect on what they believe on each other. Someone has one opinion and another person has another. That's how this country is built upon. It is freedom of speech, freedom of religion, everything down the line. Freedom of press. But yet, in the last couple of years, you have so-called purveyors of Silicon Valley who want to control. And you could hear it in the hearings that they want to add more control. And I think and there was a great analogy. One of the senators brought up that these are the new robber barons of this era. You know, years ago it used to be the Rockefellers and all those others that were wealthy, that they controlled the railroad, they controlled the steel, they controlled construction, and they had and the newspapers, and they had a stranglehold on everything for a while. Silicon Valley has become the new robber barons. And that senator is straight on correct in his analogy. Because, and I'll tell you this, you think I'm leaving this channel? No, they're going to have to kick me off this YouTube, or kick me off this platform. I'm going to continue to do this. I am going to continue to do this show day in, day out. I don't care what they think. You are my viewers. Those of you who have subscribed, and I thank you every day for that. Because you keep coming back. I know you guys keep coming back because I see it in the analytics. But now I'm going to ask both my subscribers and my non-subscribers to do me a favor. My subscribers, I want you to take this video, this particular one, Brunch with the Madman, this episode. I want you to send this out to as many people as you can. And title it, "Please subscribe to this YouTube channel." And then I want you to go and find as many young YouTubers with low subscription counts and click on their subscribe button. And put those and send those out as well. It's just a moment. I would say pick 10 and send them out. So not everyone, and every once in a while, find and do what some people do. Find a new channel every once in a while. And if you like it, click on it, send that out too. Now for my non-subscribers, the first thing I want you to do is hit that subscription, hit the like, and the notification bell. Then I want you to take that and share that with other people you know as well. And I want you to do the same thing as the subscribers. I want you to take 10 channels that have a low count below 1,000. Send those out. And have those shared with people. This will show YouTube that basically you, the viewer, are important and that you do not want to see anything from a corporate entity like Warner, like CBS, like Fox, or any other company. You want to see independent broadcasters, independent creators, new shows, stuff that you could say that basically I can have an opinion on it. See, they're scared of Parler right now. And I see this from my friends too. And they say, oh, there's Razzies and stuff like that. Yeah, there are a lot of conservatives on there. Let me tell you something, there are a lot of also Democrats on that site too. But there's also some gamers, some anime people, some sci-fi people. There's starting to become a variation because of what's going on Twitter, what's going on Facebook, or what's going on Instagram. Because we say something and then suddenly you get cut. Could you imagine if you pick up the phone one day and you're talking to someone and then someone interrupts you and says, "Excuse me, you can't be discussing this on your phone right now. So we're hanging up on this call." Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? And you say, like, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Not ridiculous enough, because it happens. It happens. It doesn't happen on a phone. Well, technically it happens on the phone if you're using your smartphone. But as far as a phone call, technically from a program side of view, it happens with shows. So like I said, hit the subscription, hit the like, and share this program. I'm going to let it sink in for a little bit for you. And we're going to take a bit of a break. So when we come back, we're going to discuss another issue that's going on where somebody is not getting paid for what they do, for their work. So we're adding to this that basically we're doing a two-way on this where people don't get paid for their work, for their artistic endeavors, can we say. So we'll be right back right after this. With the holidays well underway, you might be looking for that special gift. Check out our merch store at teespring.com, where we have the new winter gear out, from Madman Cafe to Madman with the Show. Shirts, hoodies, mugs, and even pillows. Use the promo code GravyCafe to get an additional 10% off your purchase now until November 25th. All proceeds goes to help this channel. That's teespring.com/shopq2cast. Thanks for staying with us. And yeah, that's right. Don't forget, the promo code on that is Gravy Cafe, and you get that extra 10% off, and that's right. And that's still going on until right before Thanksgiving. And we got some great shirts. Check it out. I got some nice cafe shirts on there, and some hoodies and stuff like that. And we got even a pillow in there. We threw a pillow in there and a face mask, because we're going to be wearing face masks for a little bit longer now, the way things are going. So moving on and staying within the same topic of people not getting paid for their work. This also came out this week. And of course, we spin over to Bounding Into Comics, one site that's very good. A lot of great stories on there, and I would check them out every once in a while. There's always a good story in there within the fandom, movies, comic books, all that jazz. Well, we've discussed also the Disney situation. Disney's been going through a lot of stuff going on. They've pushed a lot of movies. It was Friday. I'm trying to think of today. It was Friday that we discussed that Warner will be putting Wonder Woman 1984 on their streaming site for a month on HBO Max. And we said Disney's probably going to do Black Widow. Is going to do the same thing with Black Widow, because we already got WandaVision got pushed to next year, to 2021, early 2021. But we're probably going to expect Black Widow to do this the same way. And we saw that Disney has about a bit of a $5 billion loss just this past quarter on their earnings results. And it's the first major loss in decades. They've always made money. Now they're starting to lose money. And I've said to myself, the bloodbath is coming for Disney now. They're next. Disneyland is not open. But here is the other part of the story that is very troubling. Very, very troubling. Now, if you've never heard the name Alan Dean Foster, Alan Dean Foster is a writer, and he's done a lot of fantasy and science fiction novels for quite some time. He has been working with Disney on the novelization on several of some of the Star Wars works and some stories that didn't get made into movies. One comes to mind is The Approaching Storm. That's done. Also, he has done the novel adaptations of the Alien movies, Alien 1, 2, and 3. And basically, he's been doing this for quite some time. And what we found out is now, recently, he's not getting paid for this. He's not getting paid. He's not getting his royalties from Disney. We're going to read into this from directly from Bounding. It appears that Disney's terrifying control over the Star Wars franchise is continuing as the science fiction and fantasy writers of America have made public an attempt by the global entertainment conglomerate to withhold rightful owed royalties to Alan Dean Foster, the veteran Star Wars author responsible for penning some of the franchise's most important novels. According to the recent statement published by SFWA President Mary Robinette Cowell, long name there, Foster first approached the Guild in 2019 with an issue regarding a payment dispute, claiming that he had written novels and was not being paid the royalties that were specific in his contract. See, that's the thing. You know, you have a contract, and if you're supposed to be paid, you have to be paid. Though she notes that as part of our negotiating toolbox, we guaranteed anonymity for both the writer and the publisher if a grievance is resolved. Due to the extenuating circumstances of this particular case, Kyle revealed that the party causing issues for Foster was none other than the House of Mouse, Disney. Foster's work should ring familiarity among Star Wars fans, as the season's author is responsible for some of the most important milestone novels throughout the franchise history, including novelizations of both original Star Wars New Hope, Ghost written by Lucas himself, and Star Wars Force Awakens, the first entry in the original Star Wars Extended Universe, Splinters of the Mind's Eye, and The Approaching Storm, the first titles to take place in the Republic era. Aside from his works, Foster has also written novelization for various films, including the entire Alien and Transformers movies series, and produced impressive original works, including the long-running Pip and Flink series. When you purchased Lucasfilm, you acquired the rights to some of the books I wrote, explained Foster in a statement addressed to Disney. Star Wars, the novelization, is the very first film, Splinters of the Mind's Eye, the first sequel novel. You owe me royalties on these books. You stop paying them. Foster's Star Wars novels are now the only books for which Disney is withholding royalties, as the author notes that when you purchased 20th Century Fox, you eventually acquired all the rights to other books that I have written, which includes the novelization of Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3, a trio of novels for which Foster claims Disney never paid royalties on any of these or even issued royalty statements for them. See, that's a shame, because these books are continuing to sell on Amazon and other sites, eBay and all that. And he should be getting his due. I mean, that it's probably by now a hefty check. All these books are still very much in print, Foster pointed out. They still earn money for you. When one company buys another, they acquire the liabilities as well as the assets. That is very correct. You are certainly reaping the benefits of the assets. I very much like my minuscule, though it's not small to me, share. The author also claims that the company wanted him to sign a NDA, non-disclosure agreement, before even talking. See right there, wouldn't do it at all. Claiming that never once did anyone ever ask me to sign one prior to negotiations, that's true. Why would you sign an NDA? What are you trying to hide, Disney? And asserting that it was done for the obvious reasons that once you sign, you can no longer talk about the matter in hand. Yeah, they want to keep this under the rug. Every one of our representatives in this matter, with many decades of experience in such business, echoed my bewilderment, he added. You know, when you read stuff like this, and you hear the O's on there, and you know when you hear people like the remaining members of the Disney family, like Abigail Disney, who basically has been a advocate of the employees of the Disney company, who technically are not getting their fair shake in things there. Especially now in California, where they've laid off, and they've laid off on both ends, both Florida and California. They've laid off so many people, but they've given raises to their executives. I think it's getting to the point where Disney needs new leadership. And we're talking all the way from top down to the bottom, because you're seeing situations like the governor of California, which is keeping Disney shut. But meanwhile, he's able to go out and spend $300 a plate at a restaurant, no masks, large group of people. And he comes back and he apologized for that. But that's ridiculous in itself. Rules for me, rules for thee, not for me. And then he sent all his people to Florida to inspect Disney, which, Disney is doing a good job on that, as far as keeping the COVID clean, as far as we could see. But yet Disney continues to let people go. As far as I know, when I reported it, a lot of the workers that work in the World Showcase have not returned to the U.S. to retain their positions in the many different countries in World Showcase. A lot of the shows, musicians have been let go. I think there was one, the Grand Floridian, the band from the Grand Floridian, they just played their last event. And it wasn't even in the Grand Floridian. It was at, I think, was it the Beauty and the Beast Stadium, wherever the Beauty and the Beast, they used to have the show there. And Disney's canceling all this out and not, putting these people on unemployment, thinking that the state will take care of them. And they're not. It's not going to happen that way. It's, you have to take care of your people. You have to take care of the people that work for you. Alan Dean Foster works for you. He wrote stuff for this company. Whether you hired him or not, he basically came over with Fox. When you bought Fox, you bought their liabilities. You bought their workers. You bought everything that is in the Fox house, with the exception of the news media. That went off on its own. And the sports was moved off on its own. You have someone that you need to pay him. He's waiting for his money, and you should do it. He's done all this work for you. See, when you alienate someone like this, who's been doing this for a long time, do you think you're going to expect anybody else to sit there and write your novelizations, write your comics, anything of that nature? You already have Marvel Comics failing right now. You've hired so many people that are just literally political, created such atrocities in the comic book. And you're still waiting for New Warriors, which is, the cover alone is just speaks for itself. If that ever gets released, which I don't think it's going to get released, because basically they probably already cancel it. We're seeing from the DC end, they're using gophers and interns to run the company. Is that what's going to happen to Marvel? Probably. So this shows how Disney treats their employees. They don't treat them good. They want to push off all this. Look how they're treating the Muppets right now. They don't know what to do with the Muppets. The Henson Company doesn't even want it back. It's so tainted. They don't want the Muppets back. Eventually, it's probably Muppets will end up getting put in the closet somewhere. The only thing left of the Muppets is Sesame Street, and that has nothing to do with this end. That's Children's Television Workshop. And you look at the other things that are going on, how cheapened on the rides have become, all the ride failures, the changeovers of the thoughts to change Splash Mountain because a small little 1%ers go, it's racist. It's very racist. I said, what is it racist? There's nothing that's in there other than Brer Fox and Brer Rabbit, characters from a story that is not even put into the ride itself. Song of the South, other than the cartoon characters, is not relevant in the ride. But see, this is the thing some people look for. They look for these little triggers, and they go off on this. And who suffers? Who end up suffering? The people that basically do their job and want to get paid. Now, did I like the last couple of Star Wars movies? No. No, I didn't. Honestly. Did Alan novelize some of them? Yes, he did. Does he deserve to get paid for it? Yes, he does. And everything else he has written that still sells. Alien 1, 2, and 3, the novelizations, those books still sell. I just bought the H.P. Lovecraft books. If their family was still alive, they would still be getting residuals. But this is the thing they want to do. It's like the same thing that happened with the Aunt Jemima. They said, oh, Aunt Jemima's racist and stuff like that. Take it away. But did you know that, she was the face for a reason because she was there. And there were residuals being paid to the family to this day. And guess what? Now they're not going to get paid anymore. Because she's been taken off there. And they said, well, it's because of racism. That was being racist. I said, how is it racist? It's a woman cooking. What are you going to take off? Chef Boyardee next? I doubt it. But if they do, that would be ridiculous. So pay these people. Pay them. They work hard. Stop the insanity. Disney, you're going down a path. You're seeing what's going on with AT&T. You're going down that same path. You're beginning to lose money. You have angered people. And to go down that path, Walt is turning in his grave because of what you guys have done to his company. So I'll tell you honestly, like I said, there is need to change management at Disney. Maybe we should put Abigail on top. Put her family back into the fold again. Because maybe we need that thoughts of the Disney family back into the fold. Maybe I'm wrong. But the thing that I'm not wrong on is basically change of management. There needs to be a change at Disney. Better or worse, there needs to be a change. Because when you can't pay a guy here who has done a lot of work for you, and even before he came to this company, he was doing a lot of work for Fox, and Fox was still paying him. Fox was paying him, but as soon as Disney took over, it was like, nah, we're not going to write the checks. We're going to try to phase him out. Because Disney likes to phase out a lot of stuff when they buy it. So let's see what happens with this. Hopefully he'll get paid. And we'll know about it because non-disclosure agreement. Get the... they can bill me, Non-disclosure agreements. Non-disclosure NDAs are important in business. They tend to hide things in their closet with NDAs, and this happens a lot. This happened. You did something wrong. NDA. You don't want to be admitted that you did something wrong. It's a business practice. But, we should take responsibility for things we've done. They say, oh, it's bad for business to admit that. Yeah. But it's also bad for business to hide it. It's worse when you start to hide things like that because people remember that. if you hit something. If you did something wrong, hey, listen, it's easy advertisement for you, because people are going to be talking about your product, whatever it is, whether it's an amusement park, whether it's a hotel, whether it's clothing, whether it's a food. They're still going to talk about it. And if you admit you did wrong, people will respect you on there. You'll get some people that won't like it, but you'll get a lot of people who do, and they'll end up buying your product more or coming to your parks more if you admit you've done wrong. And this has been happening a lot lately. A lot. Because we end up learning things on the companies that we think that it was resolved properly, and it wasn't. And people ended up getting paid pennies on the dollar. I've been on the tail end of a couple of suits, and I always refuse the NDAs, because basically, it's in other words, you're paying me to stay quiet, and that's a wrong thing to do. You don't shut people up. You pay them because you owe them the money, not to keep them quiet. And if someone asks what happened, I want to tell them what happened, not to sit there and say, well, I can't discuss it. Is it going to hurt you? Yeah, but you should take the hits as they come. That's why you have a public relations department. Remember, there is an old saying: there is no such thing as bad advertising. It's just pure advertisement. You may get some bad results, but when the dust settles, things won't change much. You'll continue on, and you'll continue on with your business, unless you've done something so horrifying that it'll put you out of business. So, as we wind down into my last couple sips, my dear, can I get another cup of coffee, please? Oh, that amaretto is so good. As the Madman Cafe starts to close down, you tell me, how do you feel about all this? Do you think this was right? Do you think this was wrong? How do you feel about YouTube, how they treat their young creators, their small YouTube channels? You tell me below. And for those of you who are YouTube creators, that are young, that are small, please, either in the comments below, throw me your channel, or send it to me via any of the platforms below, Twitter, Minds, wherever we have listed below, and I'll take a look at your channel, and I'll hit the subscribe for you. I will hit the subscribe for you, and I'll mention you. I'll mention you if you're a good-looking channel and you're nice and everything like that. No matter what you believe in, I'll throw one at you, like everybody else I've thrown to. Because if I enjoy a channel that you send me, I'm going to tell people, I enjoy your channel. Please go give them some love. So give me a little love, and I'll give you a little love back. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, I'm going to tell you to subscribe, like, and share this video. The last cup of coffee is being served as the Madman Cafe brings its day to an end. Don't forget, we are here every Monday and Saturday, 12 noon Eastern. For those of you who are in other parts of the world, as in Australia, Indonesia, and in the UK. And don't forget, Man with the Show. You can watch that every Wednesday and Friday. It's on various parts of the day. The Friday episodes are tendency on between 12 and 4, as basically we have Friday Night Tights, and I do work my show around them, so at least you can go over and check them out. That's Friday Night Tights every Friday around 5, 6-ish on the Neurotic channel. And like I said, check out all these other... On the side of my panel, there are other YouTubers there. check out their channels. Give them some love. Because we need to show YouTube that basically we should be respected like everyone else. As much as the corporate. We bring in money for you. And you should give us respect. And you should pay us. You should pay us. So until next time, thank you very much. Have a good day. Hope that you've gotten a cup of coffee at this moment. If not, take a moment. Go grab yourself a cup of coffee because that is a great treat for you every day. As one man used to say on a TV show, if you're going to treat yourself, try a cup of coffee, maybe with a Danish or two. That's a good treat for you. So until next time, have a good one. Stay safe, stay healthy, buy physical media, and we'll see you next time.